Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the first Gouken NT01 Cerebral. This is a third-party toy, meaning it's not an officially licensed product. It's called NT01 Cerebral, but if you take a look at that box art there, you know exactly who this is, right? This is a third-party toy of Krang in his android body from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, like I said, it's not an officially licensed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toy, which is why it's a third-party toy. Third-party toys exist quite a bit these days. In fact, I think Transformers has one of the biggest third-party markets that actually makes some really nice figures. They're just not official Hasbro or Takara Transformers. So that's the same thing we've got going on with this Krang figure here. But since I am a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, this is the first third-party toy that has really appealed to me. So I'm very curious about this guy, and we're going to check him out here today. So first of all, you can see the size of this box. It's quite massive, and it's a very nicely done box. Some beautiful box art on here that shows off a great image of Cerebral, Krang in his android body there. I gotta point this out up here. Definitely worth noting, especially as we get further into this review. It does say ages 15 and up, not a toy. Not a toy. And when we flip this around to the back, we get a look at the figure kind of in action. Lots of different poses there that you'll be able to pull off with it. Some really cool artwork that kind of wraps around the box there. So already, just looking at this box, feeling the style of it, very impressive. Very nice, very high quality. It's got a nice slip cover here, so you can pull that off. And again, we're treated to some really sweet artwork. Great kind of embossed lettering down there, so it's nice and metallic. And when we lift the lid off this box, which is nice sturdy box, by the way. So we got great styrofoam inserts here. Really makes this thing feel special. And there is our figure in the box. We got this great android body. We've got our little Cerebral minifigure, which is our Krang minifigure. So let's go ahead and pull this figure out of its packaging and really take a look at it. All right, so we've got our Krang android out of the box. Now it's time to take a closer look at the action figure itself. First of all, you can see the size of this thing sitting next to me on the table here. He's quite massive. He stands 10 inches tall, so very big figure, very bulky figure, and he's got quite a lot of weight to him. Part of that is because the shoulder pauldrons up here, the torso piece here, the trunks piece, and the red boots are all made of a die-cast metal. So these are all metal parts, which really adds a great quality feel to the overall item, and like I said, a lot of weight. Very nicely done. I love the overall sculpt of this guy. He's definitely supposed to be reminiscent of that original Krang android body as seen in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon series, and of course we saw some figures of him in the original lineup as well. So it is definitely based on that look, but as you can see, some liberties have been taken to kind of update him, give him a more detailed look that we never saw in the original. So a lot of great sculpted details going on here, but there's a lot of things about this guy that are very familiar. He does have that smaller head, that great little visor going across his eyes there. Very cool, larger upper body there. Like I said, love these metal shoulder pauldrons there. Then you got the little bandoliers that kind of come over the shoulders there. And then, of course, that brings us to the stomach area, which is the area that's going to house our Krang. And it is so cool because it's so nicely detailed on the inside there. On the original figure, it was just kind of a mirror on the inside. First Gouken really decked this thing out because it is so nicely detailed with some great silver paint, some blues and some reds, lots of circuitry kind of painted on the inside, which is very cool. Then we've got this really nice kind of metallic yellowish gold color on the outside, along with some nice metallic reds that kind of come all the way down to the trunks there. And then those boots are also done in that great metallic red color. The rest of the figure is done in sort of this really nice skin tone color, because he did kind of look like a man running around in just some trunks, which is always kind of funny. But it looks really nice on this guy. It's pulled off very well. Great colors on there. Love all of the sculpted details in this guy too, because you see there's lots of little line work and etchings and even kind of like little vents and everything that are worked into the arms there and the legs, and they're painted silver, kind of like a gunmetal color. Looks very, very nice. Now, I do want to talk about the actual plastic pieces on this guy. He is a third-party accessory, and like the box said, not a toy, definitely intended for folks over 15 years of age. And one of the aspects that I really feel that you should definitely pay attention to the box there is with the actual build of this figure. Now, like I said, it does feel nice. It feels like it's made of a good quality, especially with those metal pieces. However, the plastic parts on here do have a bit of a I guess third-party feel. I don't know if that's the proper way to describe it. It's hard to really say what's going on with the plastic, but it definitely has a very hollow feel to it, especially in the legs. So it doesn't feel quite as sturdy as I would like it to, especially on such a nice figure that was the price of this one here. It's not bad by any means, but it definitely doesn't feel like a solid, sturdy plastic that you would see on a lot of mass-produced retail figures that are intended for children. So the only reason I'm really bringing that up is because with that thing saying not a toy on the box, I definitely feel like this would not hold up if it was given to a kid, and might not even hold up if you do excessive posing and playing around with it. I think there is potential for some breakage. Like I said, I don't feel like it's going to just snap in my hands, but it definitely feels a little wonky sometimes, especially when I move the legs. You hear the noises when I move this guy around? The way it kind of pops and crackles there? It squeaks and everything, so it definitely doesn't feel as sturdy as a toy that is mass-produced and tested for children. So definitely worth pointing out. So while we're kind of maneuvering him around and moving his joints and everything, why don't we go ahead and talk about the articulation on this guy. The head's on a nice ball joint that also has a great hinge in the neck. So we can look up really nicely. You can swivel that head all the way around. Great range of motion there. The die-cast metal shoulder pauldrons have the ability to kind of bend upwards, which is great because he's got ball jointed shoulders. So the arms can go outwards, they can go forwards, backwards. You can swivel at the biceps there. You got nice double joints in the elbows, so that works really well there. Great range of motion. The wrists can swivel, and then the hands, each of the fingers are articulated, and they are on little ball joints. But here's another weird thing I want to point out. All of the fingers are made of a very soft, very gummy plastic. You can see how I'm kind of bending and flexing them around there. So the articulation doesn't function as well because of that gummy soft plastic, and it's really easy to pop the fingers out of socket. They're just little ball joints there. They fall right out of these little sockets, and then they're kind of hard to put back in because, like I said, they're so gummy. You really have to kind of press them to get the little ball joint back in the hole. So definitely something to be wary of with that. It's interesting that the hands are so soft like that. He's definitely not going to be able to hold on to a lot of things. He doesn't come with any accessories to hold on to, but still, if you want to put stuff in his hands, he's probably not really going to be able to grip it because of those soft fingers. He can also swivel at the waist there. He even has a little bit of an ab crunch. You can see I can kind of bend him up and down there. It's got that weird creaking noise again. That's not a ratchet joint. That's like the plastic creaking. But obviously he's got the torso area there where we're going to actually house Krang, so it gets in the way just a little bit. The legs have ball joints that allow the legs to kind of split outwards, not very far. And again, that's where the joints are really tight and they kind of scratch around a little bit. Swivels at the thigh cut there. You got nice double joints at the knees, so you great range of motion in the legs there. You got great ball joints at the ankles, so you can actually roll it all the way around, and you can kind of move it forwards and backwards and pivot it just a little bit there. So you actually have some pretty decent articulation with this guy. You're not going to get a lot of really crazy poses, especially since the legs don't move very wide there. But you can get some pretty neat battle poses with them. And, I mean, for this type of a character, that's some pretty great articulation and something we've never seen with a character like this before. So, we definitely have to talk about one of the other important components of this, the guy that actually drives this armor, which is our little Cerebral, aka Krang. This is a very, very cool little sculpt. Great looking little guy there. He's done in this great pink look, very, very cool brain look to him, just like we saw in the series. I love the little face. He's got these great little metallic blue eyes, little teeth poking out. He does have articulated tentacles on the front. It's worth noting that his tentacles are made of that same gummy plastic as the fingers, so be very careful when you're bending these around. These, I actually am a little worried I'm going to snap, so you want to be a little bit careful when bending those around, but it's pretty cool that you can do it. He's got a really nice wash on there too, kind of gives him a bit of a gritty look. He's a little sticky feeling, and I think it's from the wash that's on there. In fact, when I first opened him, he was a lot more sticky than he is now, so I think getting him out in the air kind of fixed that a little bit, but very cool looking little sculpt. Now, he can easily fit right on the inside of the stomach area there, and what's really cool is he does have an embedded magnet inside, which is going to help him cling to the inside of this chamber here. So once you get him in there, you can kind of see it. You got to just kind of squeeze him and work his way in there, but he holds very nicely. You can see because of that magnet, he's not flopping around or anything. He's holding in there very, very nicely. And he just looks really cool. It really completes the overall look. Another thing that you can add to this if you want to is it comes with this little nice translucent blue blast shield, and that just fits in just like this. You just kind of put it on there, clip it in place, and now you can block or cover up or defend your Krang with that cool little blast shield. So that's a pretty neat little accessory, and that's one of those things where you can display it if you want to, but you don't have to. Another fun feature with this is he does include an LED light inside that chamber. There's just a little battery compartment right there on his back. You just pop off the little plastic piece, it reveals the battery compartment. He does not come with batteries, worth noting. So you're gonna have to buy 2 little button cell batteries. It does tell you what type you need. Very easy to pick those up at any store. Radio Shack, they're only gonna cost you a couple bucks. So you put the little batteries in there. You just put the little rectangular cover back on there. Then he's got a little on-off switch on his back. So when you flip that, you get this great little blue LED light right there in the stomach that kind of just illuminates your Krang on the inside. It looks pretty cool either with the blast shield up or down. I actually kind of like it without it because you can really see that great glow on the inside. So that's a very, very cool little accessory for this guy. I really, really like that. And finally, the other thing that this guy does include is interchangeable hands in the form of these really cool axes. These are just plastic, but they are done in a great gunmetal color with that great same metallic red on there, so it really matches the outfit he's wearing very well. You can pop these hands right off these little ball joints there, and in its place, you can pop on the cool axe weapon. So he can change his hand into an axe, ready for battle. You get 2 of those, and both hands are interchangeable, so it is very, very easy just to kind of pop those on there, and now we've got a dual axe-wielding Krang android. Alright, so we've taken a good look at this guy. Now let's start having a little bit of fun here. It's comparison time. Here is a look at this brand new NT01 Cerebral standing alongside the large Krang android body from the vintage line. You can see that the sizes are very similar. This guy stands almost the same height as that vintage figure, and it's pretty great looking at these two side by side. So you can definitely see where the inspiration came from for this guy, but you can also see how updated he is. And just for fun, we're also going to go throw in the 5-inch version of that same figure that also came out in the vintage line towards the end there. Really fun little figure, and getting these 3 all together in a group shot is pretty awesome. And while we're doing comparisons, why don't we go ahead and pull Krang out and do this Krang-parison time? Yeah, that's right. We got our new little Cerebral minifigure standing alongside several versions of Krang/Utroms in the various Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lines, so you can see how he measures up next to all of those guys. So I'm sure you're asking yourself now, how does this guy compare to some of the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures that are out there? Lots of fun can be had with this guy. So I tried out some different things. First of all, I did put this new little Cerebral minifigure inside of that vintage Krang body there, and it fits really nicely, and it's pretty neat. So I guess if you wanted to display him that way, you can totally put him in that vintage body. On that same note, I also put him in the little walker that came with the vintage Krang action figure. He looks awesome on the walker. Now, he is a little fatter than the vintage Krang action figure, so he doesn't fit on there perfect, and you're not going to be able to close the little bubble dome over him. It doesn't fit, but he still looks pretty neat on there, and it's kind of cool having him standing next to those vintage bad guys there. All right, so I feel like this new version is definitely more meant to go along with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Classic Collection figures from Playmates. And he looks pretty great next to him. You can see that since he's 10 inches tall, he still towers over them at 6 inches. And it's pretty great matching those guys up with him, so we can kind of create some good scenes from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon series, but sort of in this updated form. He also looks really great with the new Bebop and Rocksteady from the Classic Collection, especially since they also sort of have that more stylized look to them. They actually fit in really well with Krang here. And you can really match him up with lots of your other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures. I know that the Revoltech Nick Turtles are from a completely different era from this guy, but they look really good posed in battle with this Krang. Or hey, if you've got any of those Ninja Turtles minifigures of any sort, you can kind of put those with this guy and recreate the scene from the cartoon where he grew really tall and was wreaking havoc on the city. It's pretty awesome. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the first Gouken NT01 Cerebral, our third-party Krang in his android body. Overall, I feel like this is a really nicely done action figure, and it's a lot of fun. It's something that I was totally not expecting to see. Came out of nowhere, and it's really great getting a figure like this that has really paid such great attention to the details on this guy. While I love the stuff that Playmates is doing, and while I love some of the other things we've gotten over the years from Ninja Turtles, I don't feel like we would have gotten something like this with such detail and definitely meant for an adult collector from a company like Playmates. So, in that sense, it's cool to see a third-party company do something like this. Now, this is an import. That means it's expensive. This guy is currently running around the $180 mark. So again, not a toy for kids. This is definitely meant for collectors who are willing to drop the cash and pick something up like this to put in their display. And you know what? Like I said, I'm not a huge Transformers collector, and I've never really had the desire to pick up any of the third-party products, even though they look really cool. This was the first one that really got my attention because I'm such a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, and I like it. I think it'd be pretty cool to see some more stuff done in this style that we would not see in an actual action figure lineup. It's kind of neat. I don't know if we get anything else outside of this, since he's kind of like this whole robot thing. And I think that's how they got away with making him, because he's a robot. But he's still pretty cool, and I'm glad I picked him up. You'll have to look for him online. Like I said, you have to import him, so do some searches for the first Gouken NT01 Cerebral. You'll find some online stores that are probably carrying him. Happy hunting, my friends, and until next time.